Hello and welcome to the 4th edition of the Humpday Bogart Specials, and I want to say thank you to everyone who's already been keeping up with them and said some nice things about it. It really helps, because I'm really not very good at talking to the camera in my bedroom. I've had to ban my sister and my mother from coming upstairs because I don't like them hearing me. So this episode is about the second song on the album, Bogart's Eyes, and the second song is called In a Lonely Place, and it is inspired by the film of the same name. I hadn't really decided at that point that I was going to keep writing songs about Bogie, but it was one of those films where there's so many great lines in it that you can't not write a song about it, and I'm surprised not more people have been inspired by it, really. It was directed by Nicholas Ray, who did Rebel Without a Cause. It was in 1950, and it also starred Gloria Grahame. And if you haven't seen it, there was a film a couple of years ago called Film Stars Don't Die in Liverpool, and it was about her later life. And it was a really good film. I can't remember who's in it, but the actress who played her was really good. And I hadn't seen In a Lonely Place until after that. So I realised, because she says, oh, Humphrey Bogart gave me this lighter, and it's got an inscription on it, and then I realised, I see why I would have done that, because they were always lighting each other's cigarettes in the film. But this film it's one of my favourites. Sorry, I'm looking at my list. Not that, Sabrina is my favourite in that it's my comfort film. This is my favourite film in that it's just one of those that you just, for me, it's perfect in so many ways. The actors, the lines, the way it's shot, and the plot, and it kind of all intertwines in itself in the way that he's writing a screenplay for kind of a trashy book, but it kind of ends up reflecting what ends up going on between him and Gloria Grahame throughout of it. And it's just a really clever film, and I personally think it's one of Bogie's best performances, and it's up there with like Cane Mutiny and African Queen, Maltese Falcon and Casablanca. Is one of his best, and I think it probably could have done better if it hadn't have been released the same year as Sunset Boulevard and All About Eve, which won Oscars. So I think they had a lot to kind of compete with. It was produced by Santana Productions, which was Bogie's production, I don't know what to call it, company, named after his boat, and I think he chose this and wanted it done. One of my other favourite things about this film is that it introduced me to a song by Hadda Brooks called I Hadn't Anyone Till You, and that is in the film and one of my favourite scenes, and it's a piano scene, and they're both sat around this piano, and Hadda Brooks is actually in it, and she sings, and it's a very simple scene because there's hardly any lines, and they just look at each other and light each other's cigarettes, and that's the moment where they realise they're kind of in love, but then everything starts to go downhill from there on. It's one of the perfect what-if films of what if only something had gone differently. I urge you to watch it. I won't explain it all because I don't want to ruin the twists. But the song I wrote is, because the film's quite dark, it's a film noir, kind of, but it's a love story, but it's quite a dark, stuff doesn't go well. So the song has turned out a little bit more rocky. It's almost sounding a little bit stadium rock at the moment, thanks to my ready-made and producer Dawn, who's an incredible guitarist, and she's put some things on there and it sounds awesome already. I put loads of the lines of the film in there. I think I started it with the chorus. I came up with it, and it's literally just the lines from the piano scene, which Gloria Grahame leans forward and whispers into Bogie's ear. I think he says, anything you want to make you happy, and she says, I wouldn't want anyone but you, as she leans in and basically kind of whispers it right in his ear, and it's one of the most seductive things you've ever seen. I think I'm going to get my guitar right now, also so I have something to do with my hands. This is my guitar I write everything on. I am not a guitarist. That's why I leave it to Dawn. so I apologise if it kind of goes wrong, and I'm trying to remember what my chords are, but it went a bit like... And I basically, actually throughout the whole album, I was trying to push myself and be a bit more clever with it. I tried what I thought were jazz chords. I'm not a music student in a way that I'm not very good with theory. I just go whatever works for me. So I tried to put in a load of chords that I thought were slightly jazzier chords, in that they're either there's minor sevenths or sevenths, or certain sus chords, only because it's where my tiny fingers can reach. I can't do anything more than that because I have tiny little stodgy fingers, so I just kind of, I put my finger somewhere on the fretboard and hope that it makes something sound nice. So that was the chorus. I'm not going to sing the melody to you just yet. I actually kind of changed the melody to it the other day when I was doing ghost vocals, because I got bored and started trying to play around with harmonies, which I'm not too good at, but I came up with something and it actually sounded better way of singing the chorus. And I could sing it to you, maybe I might, but I can't sing it with this guitar. No, I'll leave you in suspense. The verses, there's basically, it kind of goes, there's 3 verses, it kind of goes verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus, and then it goes into a bridge, and then you don't kind of get the chorus again, in that there's a bridge and then it goes into an outro, but it uses the same chords as the chorus, but I change it and I use the line, which is one of my, I always say favourite. It is one of the best lines I've ever heard, which is, I was born when she kissed me, I died when she left me, and I lived a few weeks while she loved me. And they use that, another half of that at the end, and I did write it down in my little notebook. She says it right at the end. She says, I lived a few weeks while you loved me, and then says goodbye to him. And I got that on my guitar. I lived a few weeks while you loved me, goodbye Dix, because his name is Dixon Steele. And her name is Laurel Gray, which I always think is very clever. Kind of steel grey, if anyone else noticed that. And I think I started trying to work this, writing this song out. I put a whole load of just words that came to me when I was watching the film. So I watched this film a couple of times, and then I got this book out and I wrote in it. The first 3 verses have all got the lines in that the agent says to her when she's starting to lose her faith in Dix. He says, you know it was dynamite, and then it's the second verse I use, it's much part of him as the colour of his eyes. And then the next one was, how have I lost my own, oh, it's, nope. Oh, he has to explode sometimes. I got them mixed up. But I use those to start each verse. And then the bridge is more about the bit when they're, when she kind of, the police finally ring them up and she says, well, why couldn't you have called us yesterday? If you had called us yesterday, this all wouldn't have gone wrong. Because basically they put too much pressure on Bogie's character and think it's him that's done something. And he has not. It's just a perfect film. And I hope my song lives up to it. The songs I was trying to use for inspiration were Billy Joel's All for Lena, which is a great song, Big Country, Steel Town. So I was trying for that kind of, for all my fans that have listened to my music and know about it, still got that 80s influence, and the 80s took a lot of influence from the 40s and 50s and these kind of films, so it all kind of intertwines quite nicely. But obviously I'm sticking a load of strings on the top of that as well, and hopefully some saxophone that I'm getting done as well by the very wonderful Georgia Chalmers, who plays saxophone for Brian Ferry, if you want to go check her out. And even though I've rambled a bit, I think I've explained most of the song. And I will see you next week, and when I decide what I'm going to talk about. Stay safe and stay happy, and I'll see you next week.